Hello Internet, I am the hero of Julios, once again with another One Piece chapter summary. This week's chapter is chapter 1091, Sentomaru. And the chapter begins off, well first we should probably talk about the art like we usually do. We have the Straw Hat crew eating a giant cheese pizza together. Robin and Frankie aren't in this shot, but this is some good looking pizza, I gotta say. You know it's gotta have some stuffed crust in it. Personally, if you ask me, pizza is best served without meat. Which is really weird. Normally I am a very carnivorous person, but I don't like meat on my pizza. Sausage, chicken, pepperoni, don't really like it. I actually have a really weird combination that I like to put on my pizza. My friends really don't like it, which usually results in me having my own pizza, so I'm perfectly okay with it. But that is all I'm going to talk about on the subject of pizza. Let's get into the actual subject itself with these new and old vice admirals fighting against all of these the giant sea beasts and the pacifistas. We got Doll kicking into one. We got this steam-powered guy just punching one of the sea beasts with a big steam arm thing. I say new and old as in, like, we don't know some of these guys and we know some of them. So the ones we know are old, and then we got these new ones. So as this fighting is going on, Kizaru has made landfall, and he is duking it out with Sentomaru. They are trading blows as Sentomaru fights against him with the best defense in the world. Unfortunately, even if you have great armament hockey, your opponent still moves at the speed of light, and it's pretty easy for Kizaru to dodge Sentomaru's attacks. So between Sentomaru being super defensive and Kizaru being super dodgy, this is the difference between an armor-based armor class and a dexterity-based armor class in D&D. So you see, in Dungeons & Dragons, if you're not wearing any armor, your armor class is 10 plus your dexterity bonus. This is because this is just how you're able to dodge attacks. So if you're fighting like a monk in D&D, and the monk has a really high armor class, it's not so much the monk absorbing your blows, as it is the monk not getting hit at all. The opposite end of that, if a man is wearing full-on plate mail and you punch him in the chest, even though you rolled a 17, his armor is an 18, and it's not so much he dodged out of the way, so much as it is he tanked the attack with his bare chest of metal. This is what I'm getting at is, Sentomaru is a high armor build, and Kizaru is a high dexterity build. As these two are duking it out, though, we get a brief little flashback to the day they met. Sentomaru was living on an island with all these bears around him. Oda sort of explained this in an SBS, I believe, but now we get to see it in person. This tiny little Sentomaru, having just defeated all the bears, he sees Kizaru and Vegapunk come up and he tells them, you know, all the people in the valley, they're so weak and lame and I don't like them. And Kizaru goes, you got kicked out, huh? Yeah. And Vegapunk goes, well, you are a tough little boy, so how about you come with me and Kizaru, and I will let you be my bodyguard. It's a good paying job. And he goes, good, because I need a lot of money, and I'm really worth my money because I'm super tough, so I don't eat a lot. And Vegapunk goes, oh, you don't eat a lot. And Kizaru goes, well, what would you spend all that money on? And he starts drooling at the mouth as he just goes, onigiri. I'm a really tough little guy. I don't get hungry. I don't need food. What would you spend your money on? Food. Lots of food. I would just gorge myself on food. So that's how they met. Unfortunately, job comes before family, as Kizaru tells Sentomaru, you may have the best defense in the world, but my defense is nothing to laugh at either, as he just lands a devastating blow on Sentomaru, taking him out. Now, Sentomaru's probably not dead, but being out of commission means Sentomaru can't give orders to the pacifistas anymore. And because of how the hierarchy works, Kizaru picks up a control chip and tells everyone, all the Vegapunk, all the pacifistas, Sentomaru is no longer able to give commands. I am in charge of the command ship, so begin assisting the Marines instead of attacking them, and the pacifistas begin to attack the sea beasts. And with that, Kizaru flies up with his laser powers into the Labosphere. He goes right past the laser defense because he himself is made of light, and I need to make a video. I need to just like I need to reread all of Egghead Island, get my thoughts together on it, and really try to figure out what I'm not seeing about these command chips and the hierarchy. And I thought you couldn't, over radio waves, you couldn't tell the pacifistas what to do because, you know, the Seraphim, you can't give a radio command to them because they don't listen to commands made via the radio. Then how did Kizaru get his message out to all the pacifistas to attack without jumping around himself? Is sound connected to light in a way that allowed him to broadcast his voice without actually broadcasting it? I need to really sit down and like get a chart or something and figure out exactly how this ability or how these chips and how the authority thing works. And this is the one thing that is infuriating me about this story right now. Can you tell? But enough about that. Kizaru gets up to the sphere and he just says, I've got 3 things on my checklist that I need to protect. I need to take care of the power plant. I need to take care of the, what did I write? Punk Records. And I need to take care of York. Those are the 3 important things that can't be destroyed today. However, the only thing on my list of things to be destroyed today is Dr. Vegapunk himself. And with that, he zooms on forward. Meanwhile, inside, the Vegapunks are hacking away at the big sphere, and York is taunting them because, haha, I am also a Vegapunk. I'm just as smart as you guys, so there's no way you can crack through my code because I know you guys, we share a brain, so I know you guys better than you know you guys. There's no way you're going to figure out. The password's probably going to be something like Lunchables, but they manage to have this back and forth, and while she's talking, Stussy notices Rob Lucci lunge forward. And she dodges right in front of him just in time to get finger pistoled before Vegapunk could. She drops to the ground, and Zoro gets his swords out, and Sanji grabs the bubble gun, and he puts Kaku in a bubble. And Kaku's just like, hey! And Sanji goes, oh, it looks like Lucci didn't tell you his plan, which he didn't. Lucci starts trying to go, you know, another swing at Vegapunk before Zoro blocks him with his swords. And Lucci tells him, between me and Kizaru, you guys are dead. You have no hope of survival. Zoro and Lucci, they both end up taking this fight outside as they're jumping out, and Zoro's taunting him of like, oh, now you're tough because your backup got here. Meanwhile, Luffy and co., they're on the Vega Force 1. The Vega Force 1 is holding the Thousand Sunny, and it's running along until Luffy senses something coming. Luffy jumps off the ship just in time to block an attack from Kizaru. And Kizaru looks at him and he goes, looks like your luck's run out, Straw Hat. And Luffy goes, oh ho, it's different this time. 2 years ago, we may have lost to you, but now we are 100 times stronger. Which is it's a beautiful little allegory because 2 years ago, on the Sabaody Archipelago, Shaki told Luffy that Rayleigh was 100 times stronger than him. And Rayleigh was the one that held off Kizaru while the Straw Hats, well, they didn't get away, but they didn't die either. So now that Luffy is 100 times stronger and potentially as strong as Rayleigh in Rayleigh's old age, not in his prime, this is going to be the big fight. And honestly, I'm more looking forward to the Rob Lucci-Zoro fight than I am to the Luffy versus Kizaru fight. I know that sounds weird, but really think about it for a second. Every enemy that Luffy has defeated, like major enemy, we have only seen again in a capacity in which Luffy could not fight them. Like Eneru, he's on the moon. Crocodile, he was in prison and ended up being an ally of Luffy. Let's see. Buggy was in prison and ended up being an ally of Luffy. Mr. 3 was in prison and ended up being an ally of Luffy. Long story short, Luffy has never really had a proper round 2 in a different arc against a villain. Like, he fought Kaido, I think, like 5 times out of all of Wano, but he did have that very brief round 2 with Rob Lucci, in which Gear 5th decimated. He just curb stomped him. But now we finally have a chance for an actual Straw Hat Luffy enemy to fight Zoro. To see where the gaps are. I mean, I'm not really a power scaler, but it's really cool to think. It's amazing to look at this through the lens of an enemy who once was a difficult fight for Luffy is now not worth Luffy's time. And while Luffy's going to fight someone else, Zoro is going to fight that person. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just a really cool showing of how strong the Straw Hats have become, that even when their enemies get stronger, Luffy still outclasses anyone he has already defeated. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that fight goes, especially since Zoro doesn't really get to fight swordsmen these days. He fought King, who didn't really consider himself a swordsman. He fought against Killer, if you really want to call that a fight. Killer had a pair of scythes, not really swords. So Zoro hasn't had a good sword fight in a while, but this is going to be amazing. And I'm looking forward to that fight way more than Kizaru. Although, I will not deny that I am looking forward to seeing Luffy finally defeat an Admiral. I have the utmost faith in them because, I don't know, just because of how story beats work, this doesn't look like it's going to be a low point for the Straw Hat crew. It looks like Egghead is going to be nothing but W's, nothing but lore drops, nothing but cool things happening. And I'm looking forward to it. We don't have a break next week, so that's going to be fun. And I don't know if anyone has noticed that I am not wearing a One Piece t-shirt. That's because I was wearing them while I was watching the live-action Netflix series. It finally came out on Netflix. I watched it. I wore my shirt. I got popcorn. Like, I made a whole day of it. So, looking forward to giving my thoughts on that once I finally sat down, got my notebook out, really like write down what I was thinking about it. So look forward to that in the future, and look forward to the next chapter. Thank you for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Hero of Julios, Xing out.